Hey guys, what's up out there in Streamland? It's Jason Dutch with Voice from the Underground, the podcast where politics and pop culture collide. Welcome to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, everywhere that is bothering to watch this right now. So what I want to do real quick, I don't have a ton of time. I couldn't find my fucking microphone that I use with my phone for a while. So I had to set up my regular one, and I only got a few minutes here. So I just want to touch real quick on what's going on in Georgia with these suitcase ballots, so to speak. So what I'm going to do here, in the interests of keeping everything flowing, I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to share a couple of Chrome tabs, and I'm going to start with how I heard about this 4 or 5 days ago from a person who I was having a Twitter debate with. So this was the article that they sent me. It was an OANN article. I'm going to go through this real quick here, and I'm going to give my opinion and my perspective on what's happening with this. So we'll start out here by watching this quick video. As that video is playing, I will. We don't want to see the Bose video here, and I guess I had to wait through a stupid Bose video before I could show you that. So what they're saying here is they're pulling ballots out from under a table here. And they're saying that the lady with the blonde braids had placed this table there at about 8:22 a.m. And then this guy here is going to come, and he's going to take some of these bags. They look like suitcases. They're basically just bags. We don't really know what's specifically in the bag. I'm assuming that they're ballots. We will, for this right here, he's going to pull it out. He pulls out the bag. He's on multiple cameras. And then they'll bring them over here to this particular table. And then they'll set stuff up. Now, conveniently, they stop talking about that video at that particular point in time. So they only show a few seconds of it on OANN, which is just saturated in right-wing bias. Now, does that necessarily mean that they're wrong? Well, let's look at it and find out for sure. So here's what we know. What we know is that they had a flood, a proposed flood in Florida that was close to that State Farm Arena. They said that a water main broke. So my first thought would be that, okay, let's look at the facts around the case, because facts don't care about your feelings, right? I could swear that's true. I could swear I heard that somewhere. So they have a water main that potentially breaks. Now, apparently it never got into there. So there's two stories. One, they made it up, or two, it actually happened. Now, we do have a lot of secondhand information that comes and says that there was a water main that broke within like a half a block away. And they were told there could be some danger to either the electronics or to water getting in. So if I had a lot of ballots of people who had voted, I probably would do what they did and put those covers over the tables and sort of try to make sure that they did not have, and try to make sure that they do not have any possibility of getting wet. Because the last thing that you want, imagine that they did nothing. Imagine they didn't do anything, and all of these votes had gotten destroyed. Let's just imagine that for a second. Let's assume that water had gotten in and all of the votes got destroyed. What would they be talking about at that point in time? They'd be talking about how they have to, all of these legitimate votes didn't get counted, and they could have been, how do they know that they weren't all Trump votes and they didn't all put them there, right? Because this is the way that they shift the goalposts and the narrative switches on the right wing. Now, I am not one to sit here and say that Democrats are the most honest people in the world. Do I believe the Democratic Party is corrupt, specifically the DNC? Absolutely, I believe that that's true. Look at Bernie Sanders and the fact that he was not the DNC nominee in 2016, and you can see all of that very clearly. Yes, the DNC is corrupt. Yes, they have corporate interests. Yes, the Republicans are corrupt. Yes, they have corporate interests as well. But with this particular video, what it shows is it shows people moving stuff around. Now, if you go and you look at like Sean Hannity is going to say that the new House video shows suspicious activity. Okay. Now, unfortunately, when I pull this stuff up, I get ads shooting in my ears. So if I talk a little bit weird, I apologize. But basically what they say is surveillance video canvassing center showed poll watchers being ushered out of the room. It didn't actually show that as they paused for the night. So the witnesses testify, backed up by newly released surveillance footage, that shortly after observers were asked to leave the room, several large, mysterious suitcases they believe filled with ballots were rolled out from under a table. Keyword, believe. Okay, they don't know that what was in those boxes. We can speculate that they were ballots. Let's say that they were. What did they do with them after? Did they continue to count? If they did so, was there still observers there? Were they staging things for the next day? Were they doing their due diligence and working and trying to make sure that because they had to pause the next day when they get started, that they can get started and ramped up and ready to go, knowing that the whole nation is waiting on these votes? To go there and to go out and to assume that this happened and it was complete fraud, that they ushered everybody out, they faked or staged a water main break, and then had all these ballots, pulled them all in, found out how much the Republicans were down or up by, pulled in just enough to make Biden take the lead, and they were all in perfect, pristine condition, which of course almost all of them are anyway. The idea that ballots are wrinkled and crinkled pieces of paper is fucking absurd. And they pull all these ballots in and they just had them ready to go, and they pull them out from under the table under the veil of secrecy, the veil of night, with cameras on you. That's a long stretch. What does make a little bit more sense is that these people, this infamous woman with the blonde braids, ooh, woman who likes black hairstyles, scary. What the fuck ever. You can't read into it and speculate every single thing just to try to fit your narrative. Now, maybe that happened. Okay. If it did happen, I say that we arrest those people. I say that they are charged. I say that we then take action if you prove that this is true. Investigate it. Talk to them. I'm completely in support of that, because I'd be in support of it if it was the other way around too. And Trump had won Florida. I would say absolutely take a look at it. And people are taking a look at it. Oh no, the media is ignoring this, Dutch. Nobody's looking at it. Nobody's doing anything. They're just ignoring it and pretending that that's the case. Not true. Fox News reporters have debunked it. House Republicans have looked at this, and PolitiFact has taken a look at it. Let's take a look at the PolitiFact article that shows that video footage from Georgia shows suitcases filled with ballots from under a table and illegally counted after election observers were told to leave. This is the claim, right? So PolitiFact goes through and they look at this and they say, okay, this doesn't stand up to the scrutiny. You can dispute it all that you want, but what they say is that it's not that irregular of a procedure. That there was a Republican there. They talked to this person. That person was there the entire time and observed the entire goings on. But that doesn't matter to the right wing. It doesn't matter because it doesn't fall into the narrative. And then they want to move the goalposts again and say, well, if it happened here, and again, if it did, prosecute. But because it happened here, it happened everywhere. For that reason and that reason only. It had to have happened everywhere. We just didn't see it. And they got caught here. Democrats got caught red-handed up with this. Now, that's not to say that things like PolitiFact and Snopes are always right either. They had this instance with a new Biden appointee who was found. She tweeted a picture of herself wearing a hat with a Russian symbol on it, a murderous regime. And then they say, oh, it's out of context. I disagree with that. It is context. If it was a Nazi hat or a Confederate flag, I would be like, fuck you. And I'm saying the same thing for a Soviet flag. Stupid ass idea. You posted your own picture. It's not face. I don't need context to see that it was a gift. If I give you a Confederate flag as a gift, are you just going to fly it because I gave it to you? That's fucking astonishingly stupid. So no, I don't need context for it. It was wrong, period, because I care about facts and truth. Not going to be dishonest because the person was appointed by Biden who is beyond all reproach. Wrong. He's not. It's time to start getting on Biden and keeping him honest and being critical of Biden, which is what we will do on this show. Okay? So, but there is now a multitude of places that are saying, and just to give you an idea, if you go in and you Google Georgia suitcase ballots without Mark Levine on there, I wanted to get his crazy ass perspective, so I don't need that anymore. You see stuff for and you see stuff against. No, they didn't kick them out. Trump election officials disprove this. No, it didn't happen. You know, there's multiple articles saying that what happened, and there's multiple articles saying that it may not have been exactly what the right wing said. What's important is to look at both and look at it with an open mind. And then, of course, to decide whether or not why it is that they may have taken this action, considering that there was a water main breaking. Again, if you find that this is fraud, prosecute. But then what's the remedy? Is the remedy to overturn an entire national election? Of course not. You prosecute the people that do it, just like you did in the North Carolina Republican House race. Okay? Because this stuff all affects down ballot stuff too. Let's not forget. And lastly, the goalposts are completely shifting here. Jerome Corsi is trying to get, because he says that 15 states, most of which are Democratic, may not have followed proper guidelines because of COVID to change the absentee ballot process, that we should throw out all of those states' electoral votes completely. So what they did is they said, well, can we see that, can we find any reason to throw out votes? Yeah, let's throw out votes for 15 states, 12 of which have Democratic governors. And then that will move the electoral score to like Trump 212, Biden 188 or something like that. Because they didn't like the result. They don't care about you. They don't care about your voice. They don't care about the democratic process. They care about staying in power. That is why you are going to see a massive effort over the next week here to install faithless electors. It's going to be off the charts. Okay? So that being said, keep your eye on the news. Keep your eye on the prize. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you for tuning in. Facts matter.